Please note that this video contains spoilers for the subject and the series and/or franchise leading up to this entry. Put off by how long this video is, don't worry, I try to jam-pack my videos with as much content and as much detail as I possibly can. Anything I feel I can comment on and that I feel you might be interested in, I pretty much put in the video. I try not to repeat myself and talk fairly fast. I either have or will cover other parts of this franchise, and this video either is or will be linked below. I'm not going to restate here what I did or will say in the other video. These videos get long enough as it is. I got this either as a present or I got it on discount, so I did not pay very much money for this and am thus not bitter on account of that. Married with Children, Season 9, Thoughts. Starting with intro. This season rounds out the cast of Al's friends by introducing Griff, who looks at Gary's shoes for Al, and Ike. Steve Rhodes also makes his final 2 appearances during this season. The season also includes the cancellation of Psycho Dad, Bud getting a job as driving instructor, whatever, and the first appearances of the shoe owner Gary, who turns out to be a woman, Mary's niece Amber, and reporter Miranda Veracruz de la Hoya Cardinal. Michael Faustino makes his 5th and final guest appearance. And the non-related to the show stuff, it's less than 100 days before Infinity War. I cannot wait. Major guests. And this is straight from the Wikipedia entry on major characters. Gary Patterson, Jeffrey Scott, first and only appearance of the character of... sorry. That's the wrong Gary. Gary, Janet Carroll, is the owner of Gary's Shoes and employer of Al. Actually, yeah, just briefly. Now I know why I put it in there. Yeah, Gary, although mentioned throughout the series, it was not until season 9 that character Gary returned as a woman. That was about the season 1, I think, episode where, you know, Al bribed, I think the guy was named Nick, to pose as Gary. Anyway, Gary, Janet Carroll, is the owner of Gary's Shoes and employer of Al. Gary's first appearance in Gary's first appearance in the series came in season 9 after Al turned her woman's shoe store into a men's, assuming Gary was male, and therefore would not notice. I'm sorry, that really is funny. The idea that men care so little about women's shoes that they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Yeah, that's... Anyway, yeah. Al never saw Gary in the first 20 years he worked in the store, leading him once to doubt that Gary really existed. He was incredibly wealthy. She would have been Forbes 400, but only reached 401 because of the shoe store, her only failing business venture. The first appearance, she said she owned, among other things, men, prompting Al to offer to himself. She then points out that she said men. Over the course of the series, she makes several more appearances, always to the chagrin of Al. In one episode... Actually, yeah, that's later. Yeah. And Luke Ventura, and this is, you know, if I had been doing this segment in the season 1, I would have done it there, but since he is mentioned here. Yeah, Rich Snyder, Scheidner. I don't know how to pronounce that. A coworker at the shoe store. I really do feel like every time Wikipedia, at least the English articles, mention something where you're like, how's that pronounced? They should just have that parenthesis and the, phonetic spelling out of it, as you frequently get if you click on the thing itself, if it has a page. Anyway, he was a sly womanizer who was always seducing beautiful women, stealing Al's sales. Peggy hated him while Al all tolerated him. He disappears from the show after the first season, but is mentioned in the ninth season episode Pump Fiction when Al learns from the shoe industry publication Shoe News that Luke is being given an award. Though he was portrayed to be a friend of Al's in the beginning of the series, after his disappearance he had been spoken of as if he had since become Al's rival. And yeah, briefly my own notes. He's okay, he's a little annoying, he's not that memorable, and you don't really miss him once he's gone. The thing is that he's just the plain womanizer. It's like when the show pauses to just show attractive women. It's not funny, it's just pandering. He's bland, boring. He's someone a lot of men want to be, but he's not actually funny. It's... yeah, that's the gist of it. Excuse me. That's better. And part of it is, of course, also that, a lot of this show is a parody of the 60s kind of sitcom, family sitcom. And in that, there are a lot of them that I haven't watched, but they probably wouldn't have had a character who was a womanizer, or at least if they did, he would constantly be, like, criticized by the moralizing characters on the show. So that's obviously part of it. But that's also part of why Al is, so eager to, if not necessarily outright cheat on Peg, at least look at women and try to get close to them and touch them and such. And that, again, sometimes it's just, oh, look at Al getting to do something you wish you could do. But a lot of the time they make jokes out of that. He tries to do something like that, and and something will happen, and he's the one we're laughing at, so, which is, often when you do stuff just because you're, for example, horny, you do end up looking like an idiot. Back to the Wikipedia. Griff, Harold Sylvester, he was the final co-worker with Al and Gary's shoes, appearing in the 9th season. Griff holds the distinction of being Al's co-worker for over 2 seasons. And let's see. Yeah, he's also a member of Al's No Name organization, Divorcee. He shares many of Al's characteristics as far as work ethic and views on women go. However, Griff is not quite as impolite and outspoken to their customers or to their boss, Gary. He's also less callous. Occasionally, he feels uneasy when going along with one of Al or Jefferson's many schemes. And let's see. Yeah, and Griff's first appearance was in the episode Naughty But Nice, when Bud goes to the shoe store to study for college scholarship. He first meets Griff, who introduces himself, claiming that Al recently hired him. Bud says Al never mentioned having a co-worker. Griff said Al never mentioned having a son, daughter, or a living wife, but had annoyed him with all the times he mentioned scoring 4 touchdowns in one football game for Polk High. Shoeway to heaven. This is ranked 180th, and I agree with that placement. And I noted that these are not the intro shots of the main cast from season 8, but I don't think they're new. I think they're from an earlier season and just reused. Left, right, gotcha. Left, right, gotcha. And the truth serum. Bud is there, holding his own, especially considering what a horrible role model you were. That is the straw that swathed the camel's sack. Wow. And the customers are all robbing the store. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. Ah, the 70s. The clothes, the shoes, the music. Boy, did they suck. And the House of Soul. I love the way Al looks. I forget which celebrity it is he looks like, but yeah, they nailed it. Oh, well, you see, and personally I'm partial to the 2010s Avengers over the 1960s Avengers. And that's back when I do remember that buying a tape with, you know, a few episodes of a show. You know, today that is unconscionable. But yeah, back then, yikes. And she wishes she was in LA. And it's weird that in the season that has Miranda Veracruz de la Joya Cardinal, they had a proto Miranda Veracruz de la Joya Cardinal. It's, yeah. That's exactly what Kelly said. The truth is, serum didn't only make her honest, it made her smart, insightful, and well-spoken. Is there more of it? Kung Fu fighting. Marcy is so white. What do you think? Uh-oh. And I love Dominique snarking at Al drooling. What do I look like, an idiot? You're still out of shoes. And you still look like an idiot. And they hired an Amish man, and he wants air conditioning. One shoddy shoe. And then they really do spell it. Well, any publicity is good publicity? Serving life without the possibility of parole. Waist deep and upside down. Well, that answers the question of whether you're drowning or just stuck. And Al walls himself into the old room. And the IMDb Goof section points out that, you know, when the shoemaker comes in, he's told one of his shoes broke, but we saw the model walk off with a pair of the original shoes. So, yeah. Kelly, if you were any dumber, driving Mr. Boondy. And this is ranked 90th, and I would have to agree. Al claps the music on. Whoops, forgot something. Dad? Everyone is not going. I'm not going, Buck's not going, and you're not going. I love the sign on Buck. Kiss me, I'm a German Shepherd. Oh, I'm going. And Peg's mother's heart attack is mentioned in this episode too, explaining why Seagal isn't in more of this episode. And the third letter just says, "Now you're screwed." Very Looney Tunes. It does say that. And, you know, this is actually the second episode where to have Al retake his driver's test. But, you know, this episode does go somewhat differently. Mind? No, I don't mind. Go ahead. That is seriously a spot-on Marcy voice, Jefferson. And Al is so done with Kel's issue. Racist. You have an appointment. Get back there and spit on the line. Bud did tell Al to come back to haunt him. But then I wouldn't be doing my job. And you know how important a job is, don't you? I'm sorry? You're fired. I'm sorry. I promise you, you will not be window dressing. And Kel is now literally window dressing. Well, that's how we got the Kennedy account. Well, that's how we're hoping to get the Clinton account. And yes, there is a severe punishment for premature withdrawal. I want him to remember his bank experience. Is there anyone with a worse job than mine? And the camera cuts to a well-educated, smart, driven woman who was doing her job, who has a far worse job than his. Very accurate to real life. And that's Mr. Monteleone from Unhappily Ever After as Mr. Blithers. Ah, Mr. Boondy. Actually, it's Bundy. Sorry. Anyway, Mr. Boondy. Well, we had a good time. Well, you had a good time while mine blew chunks. I'd like to remind you, son, while you're figuring out my score, that if I don't get my driver's license, that means I can't drive. If I can't drive, I can't go to work. If I can't go to work, that means I'll have to stay home. And I'll be home all the time, day and night. When you bring your dates over, I will be in my underwear. You know the underwear, don't you, son? Not the ones that read, if you lived here, you'd be home by now. And I'll be clipping my toenails and eating Cheese Whiz from the can. Now let me ask you, son, how did I do? You passed. Dad, I need $700. No problem, we'll sell the house. Of course, we'll have to come up with the other $500. Bud, if you need money, you should do what a wise man once said. Yip, yip, get a job. Boondy, Al Boondy. I just love, I mean, he knows, it's his own last name. He knows exactly, and he still uses that just to bother Al. That's, yeah. And Kelly breaks out, sorry. I'm so used to, it's just faster to type Kel than Kelly, so mostly when I note, I just type Kel. And this is ranked 142nd, and I would have to agree. Like a real man would use a toothbrush. And Al's generation had a filmed, tight-clothed female Avenger to gawk at, too. Ice hold the beer. Well, yes, I do sell women's shoes. How did you know that? Sweetheart, did you see the mailman out there? And Kel looks so dumb with her hair on her lips like that. If I could call a cab, it would just be you. Absolutely no one. What's their number? 1-800-BITE-ME. Very Sidney Bristow. I'm sorry, but Kel sobbing like that is hilarious. Excuse me, Pumpkin. Good Stooges impersonations. Too late. I thought Cousin Sticky's potion is what got him into prison in the first place. Wow. See, when I heard Out of the Pen, my first thought was that he cohabits with pigs. Cohabitates? I'm still smarter than the wanker. Not that, you primordial ooze. And he makes chicken sounds. She's right, Al. I love Kel's face as she's trying the pimple stuff. Good point. Thick rubber glove. When it's 2 a.m. and you gotta do something. Yeah, we'll be rich. Me and Kelly. Can't win either. But unlike evolution, I'm not letting you off the hook, Al. And naughty but niece. And this is ranked 66th. 6th. And I would have to agree. I found this in the back if you want to make one you've got jealous. I love the sped up peg call. And Kel's still shouting with the headphones off. Well then, can I strongly recommend you have a cesarean? Get a job? No, really, what am I gonna do? And now Jefferson's acting like a spoiled child. I'm gonna put a stop to this right now. He's got a gun! I'm okay. That's probably my favorite joke involving a threat of gun violence to and or by one of the members of the main cast. There's been a lot of throwaway jokes. Al threatening wife and or kids with a shotgun, usually verbally. But this, just the idea in Jefferson's head that Bud would literally shoot all 4 of them just so he'd have some quiet so that he could study. Wow, see, this is why I love these later seasons as well. You know, I love, so far I love all the 9 seasons on this rewatch. I forget about the last 2, but that's, wow, just the, yeah. I'm okay. Well, Buck, it's just you and me now. Uh-oh. I've seen porno films that start this way. Start like this. And she's still wearing shorts and such in the fantasy. Your hands are so strong. Especially the right one. Do you work out? In a way. And the band that Kelly, this is from the IMDb trivia, the band that Kelly likes is otitis media, which is the medical term for a middle ear infection. See, they're not going to come right out and call themselves middle ear infection. I do really love the band names in this show. The bands that Bud and Kelly like. Excuse me. I know what I did was wrong and I should be punished. Yes, you should. But how? I said we put him in a sack and drop him off the Sears Tower. Where the hell am I going to get a sack? Yeah, that's the problem here. I'm only working here today because I got no place to go. No place else to go. I used to have a place to go, but then I got divorced. Yep, divorced. She got the house, the car, the money. All I got was the right to remain silent. But, you know, what really takes me off is that Michael Jackson is married and I'm not. Bitter? Nah, Griff's not the type to bite anyone. And hilarious though it is, this episode is basically just wish fulfillment for young straight men. Business sucks. This is ranked 182nd, and I agree. And this is another great delivery by a plus-size female actor. Of course I don't have to. Let me assure you, there's no problem in that department. And Gary begat me and I begat you, so you begat away from me. At least not on the outside. Well, why? 'Cause he can't cook. I mean, give him something healthy, like an orange bang. I think I can. I think I can. As long as you don't sell women's shoes. So, you're taking that to a toxic waste dump? Yeah, Los Angeles. A Naga Hydosaurus. She wants you to pick her up at 1 a.m., which is in the morning, but I don't know what time. Okay, Eric and Lyle. I love the breastfeeding company. Present babies. Express milk. Where we settle out of court. And another train crash. Hey, face cake is still cake. Attention, Amtrak survivors. we shall not be moved. You know what I'm of a mind to do with this? Give it back to that little girl I took it from? And the girl kicks Al in the shin. And you're a comet. And he goes flying. This is Miranda Veracruz de la Vaya Cardinal. Lactathon. No way, old smeller. And in march the No Man Squad. Present beer bellies. Boogie down. Oh, Latoya, did you foresee our love in advance? Every time my commercial comes on, some stupid war breaks out in some stupid country I can't pronounce. Donald Trump, is that you? That could be France. I said country. But then again, this is Chicago, so that's not really news. To be continued, same Bundy time, same Bundy channel. And this is the episode where Katie Sagal comes back to the series after her maternity leave. And the old lady hustling Peggy in the train, played by Jean Spiegel Howard, is Ron Howard's mother. Oh yeah, she's the one in the later Bingo episode too. Since it's 4 a.m., you're either watching Gilligan's Island or you're on it. Business still sucks. And this is ranked 208th, and I agree with that placement. And now, Married with Children, despite my vehement protests, continues. Unfortunately, none of them here at Gary's Shoes. And they didn't even make up the second half of the chant. Sorry to break up the men's meeting. You were supposed to bring the food back to us, not eat it all yourself. I hit a red light on the way back. Wow. Sex without you just isn't the same. Well, actually it is. I love Al's wrong president stuff. It looks like this protest, much like my career, has come to an end. I love Al's mocking laughter at the law. I love Officer Dan going over the order in which he is what he is. But there's only 6 of us. I know. I gave you 2. And gave him the electric high chair. You'll be seeing it on Fox. It is, isn't it? I am, aren't I? And now it's a men's shoe store. Well, if you'll step into the back room, I'll show you. I love Al nodding. He's ready to accept that things are going wrong. And Peg slapping the back of his head changes the thought he's stuck on, like a record stuck in a groove. Well, I don't know. How tough are these old women? Excuse me, Mr. Shoe Daddy. Oh, you could never repay me, Mrs. Bundy. And I love her counting up non-existent money from her imaginary person wallet and waiting for her change. She's like, do you take invisible money? And Gary actually thinks that the shoes have been the problem the whole time. There'll be bidets and Michael Bolton music and a place where they can breastfeed. Congratulations, Mr. Bundy. You are going to sell women's shoes for the rest of your life. And now there are several children being brats in there. Sorry, put the emphasis on the wrong part of this. Yeah. What came over you? It certainly wasn't a clean t-shirt. Ladies, present loads. This is Miranda Rose de la Joya Cardinal saying, yikes. My country would never rule against me. Dad, they rule against you. Damn George Washington, I wish he was dead. Al, aren't you afraid that Gary would find out that you turned this into a men's shoe store? Who's Gary? You know, Gary of Gary's Shoes. Jefferson, I've worked here 20 years. 20 years? Where the hell has my life gone? But anyway, I've never even seen Gary. I don't know if Gary exists. But, you know, I've never been this happy for years. Let me just sit back and revel in it. Dad, it's Gary's office on the phone. Gary's flying in the day after tomorrow's to take a personal look at the store. Mr. Bundy, I have holdings all over the world. I own airlines, I own oil wells, I own men. I'm for sale. I said men. Dial B for Virgin. And this is ranked 45th, and I would have to agree. I forget, I'm almost certain that the woman running the hotline in this one returns later and has a crush on Bud, and he ends up looking at some very provocative material in, I believe it's the college library or something like that, which is, yeah. She does fantastic, gives just fantastic performances in both. I'd cancel my cable if I wasn't stealing it from the Darcys. Kel is so full of schadenfreude. And Jefferson Hurd, too. Love the jingle. And the ad for the hotline is on the back of the video sale ad. Yep, that's cable for you. Mrs. Hardaway. Wow. Your face has chastity written all over it. And he takes it literally. I love Mrs. Hardaway's. We can have just as much fun. Yeah. You man line 1. It's our busiest, and he blows away dust. And he's literally thinking about sex right now. Usually from mean people who've had sex. Hi, this is Buck. I'm wearing nothing but my fur. I miss you, Bud. I miss our special times together. And then she starts singing and barking. And of course he gets a real call and then answers it like a crank call. It's a real call. Melrose Place was pretty sexy. Yeah, I'm told. By girls I know. And Bud has to go to her house. And Peg doesn't want to touch free. No, Bud, stay. If you leave before my mother gets home, I know I'll get horny again. Glad to be of service. You can't eat popcorn while you're having sex. Well, not with that attitude. And the letters spell out, take her. What have you got? Nothing I can use. And the mother knows about the hotline. Picture on the side of a bus. Keep in touch. I didn't mean with me. I meant with herself. I mean her schoolwork. Well, knowing who your father is now all it's cracked up to be. I love Kel's face in the freeze frame as she realizes there's something wrong. And as the IMDb trivia points out, a movie poster of Dutch appears from 1991 appears when Peggy and Al enter the video store with star Ed O'Neill's face covered with the sticker "Free Video." Hey, how about WrestleMania bloopers? You could have taped our honeymoon for that. Hello, you're on the Virgin Hotline. This is your counselor, Eugene. Hi, my name is Isis J. Blow-Up Doll, and my boyfriend Bud hasn't been able to keep his hands off me ever since I came out of the box. Now, should I try to stay firm or just explode and go to pieces? Sleepless in Chicago. This is ranked 35th, and I would have to agree. This season really does have some of the very best. She makes a good brunette, and Al acts out flying like Superman. Safety glass, so no one else gets hurt when I go through it. She got a back scratcher instead of a Barbie. Was it at least ivory? Aha! They don't know that. Up the stairs, up the stairs. Wait, where was I going? And the music is so awful. And Al has to sleep, quote-unquote, with Marcy. Very wacky. And Peg calls. You know, his remote is cold, and the toilet seat is dry. And Al starts whimpering. Cyanide pill like he's a spy caught in enemy territory who might be tortured. And Jefferson gambled it all away. Those are tears, Jefferson. And Marcy even smells like a chicken. And she found throughout his biggins. He never even got to open it. Not even once throughout the episode. And Jefferson gambled away the money, so nothing was gained but a lot lost. It's the one time she cleans. Again, really sexist joke, but at least they use it for some. Yeah. And in this episode, we learned Jefferson's middle name is Milhouse. And the IMDb Goofs points out that, you know, in this episode, Jefferson spends the night trying to sell a rare Barbie doll he gave to Marcy during a conversation. He claims Marcy never owned a Barbie doll, where in Guys and Dolls of Season 2, we see Al and Steve Rhodes searching all of Chicago for a Barbie doll Steve sold that was Marcy's when she was a child. So, yeah. Really, all they had to do was say, like, she never had this particular version of it, and that was the one he was buying at the auction. Excuse me. And it's one of those where people entered it as a goof twice, and IMDb kept both of them. And yet, messed up how, you know, now currently you can only, you know, all IMDb user-submitted reviews are listed in order of usefulness, and some people have had trouble loading more than the dozen or so that starts up, you know. Yeah. They say all blondes are dumb, but that's just a stereo system. Now, son, you've got two choices. You can get out, or you can get the hell out. Daddy, do you notice anything different about me? No, son. Daddy, it's Kelly. Well, tell her to come in. Jefferson, 50,000. What are we gonna do? We say goodbye to you and catch a plane to Aruba. Out of my way, Swamp Gas. That's Mr. Swamp Gas to you. And And the guy says, I'd be prepared to pay $10,000 for a Barbie, and I'm prepared to call America's Most Wanted. No pot to peas in. And this is ranked 217th. I'd say top 200. And none of them are paying attention to Al. And the first thing is Al's, of course. Hey Mom, the stuff you ordered is here. It's like Christmas but with presents. I'm up for the role of the daughter. What cosmic irony. In real life, I am one. What are the odds? I mean, they say that every 500 years a young woman is born, sometimes more frequently than that. And great montage of the Bundys and the Darcys. And Kel talks up herself. Fox News viewing positions. And Mel, Chuck, Patty, and Al laughs and loves it without realizing that it's him. And Ben and Naomi. I did not. They just stole my idea. And Washington. And no one dares tell Jefferson to his face. And Carrie. Which in Mel's case means don't do anything. Sue Fox. Get what? That would be like having your cake and meeting it too. And Bud and Peg are going nuts with the food. 500 per episode, and they didn't even have to sue. Excuse me. I love the mirror image of the families facing each other. Ka-ching! The family Keats. What? And IMDb. Marcy says the spoof sitcom was cancelled because a housewife in Michigan didn't like it. This line is a thinly veiled jab at Michigan housewife Terry Rakolta. She was offended by Mirror of the Children and complained about it on various talk shows. Her efforts to get the show cancelled had the opposite effect. More people tuned in, which actually boosted the show's ratings and contributed to its longevity. And the producer of Peas in a Pod is named Ron Michaels. The name is a combination of the first names of Meredith Children producers Ron Levitt and Michael G. Moy. And to watch the Fox network, Al, Kelly, and Bud have to hold up aerials with aluminum foil while holding onto electric lamps, etc. However, soon Al and Bud are no longer holding their aerials, which mean the TV should not be able to receive the electronic signals, but the TV continues to show the show. On show. And the final still shot shows the full cast of both sitcom shows. Boy, does my life suck. Hi Mal, I'm home. Look what I bought today from the Shop at Home network. A whole week's worth of bonbons. What are we supposed to put them? Well, I'm supposed to keep them cold and frozen, so how about your side of the bed? Hi Mom, hi Dad. Hi Ben, Patty. Oh, hi Ben. Hi Naomi. When did television get so weird? Nobody eats breakfast at the table anymore. And cereal? Come on. When I was growing up, we were lucky if we got toaster leavings. Toaster leavings? Leave-ins. The Q is silent. I can do the scene in a couple of different ways. Can any of them be funny? Take notes. Come on, Ron. I'm a pro. I'm not taking notes from some kid. Would you rather go back to working on Full House? Dud Bowl. And this is ranked 256th. I'd rank it at least a little higher, like top 250, definitely. Who's paying for this? This is a funeral. What is wrong with you? How could you not demand payment before the service started? I love Fox reminding you that you were watching Fox. Buy a second pair of pants. And the Western parody. They were there honestly, they were stupid. Yeah, Daddy, what if the other players have lives? And transphobia. Not long for you, which is 3 minutes. Well, bud, you got your coin toss. He's at the 20. He's in the 20. He's under the 20. Excuse me, did someone lose a Super Bowl ring? And all of them are like, wait, no, I still have mine. Have I told you recently how pretty your eyes are? Really? And what color would they be? And he spiked the wrong line. And the funeral in the opening scene is that of Al's former Polk High football teammate Skippy, who was first glimpsed in the episode Married with Children, Hood and the Boys. And IMDb notes that the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme is what's played. It's twice when Al's former team is challenged. A Man for No Seasons. And this is ranked 254th, and I would say to top 250. We can play with ourselves. So the meeting is over. That was a nightstick. Waiting for quitting time? Exactly. Receding harebrained scheme. I confess to killing a bunch of people and eating them. Then you've already had your ribs. They're shiny, look. And Peg immediately likes Birdie. That's Bundy. So, Birdie. Birdie, Birdie, Birdie. That's Bundy. Birdie, Birdie. Now the kids are telling fat woman walked into the shoe store stories. After such a short period of time subbing there. I bet you miss the big guy. Oh yes, I also miss my husband. So recap, baseball's on strike, hockey's on strike, Saturday Night Live just won't end. That's 3 strikes and we're out. Brother Jefferson will now read the minutes from our last meeting. 801, 802, 803, 804. That's not Dad, that's Dave Winfield. Mind your business. Let me ask you why. I've asked him that same question myself over the years, and he said he's either too tired or... Excuse me. I want my psycho dad. And this is ranked 94th, and I'd put it in the top 90 at least. This is cool and unusual, unusable punishment. Not to mention what happened after the police got here. I'm much more of an adulteress now. The night your armpits secede from the rest of your body? Coronary copia. You two are the best kids any father accidentally had. Psycho Dad will not be seen tonight. Okay, now can we ask him? Why not? The show couldn't be more over. You know, that's true. Al watches a lot of sex on HBO. And Bob Rooney someone off the floor. Poor actor. So you have something to do right after you finish reading the interviews. I love their thinking faces. Bob Rooney looks like Jack Nicholson in The Shining. You know, once he's frozen. John 3:16 on this sign. I don't think Al knows what the March of Dimes is. Warm. Why aren't I? We'll leave our signs outside. Brilliant. And Al got a fever. No, Kel, fast forward eats the tape, fast forward eats the tape. You know what the French say, come see, come D. Who's that guy whose show is done? Whose TV's heroes on the run? Who'll be watching VH1? Lose around, lose around, lose around. Why, Marcy? Because Psycho Dad was the most violent program on TV. Did you know that they portrayed an average of 84 killings per 1 hour show? Well, a man's gotta reload. Sure, the cancellation was a shock. I felt like I'd been rejected. I thought, well, nobody cares about a simple saga of a guy run amok in the Old West. Man's a freaking poet. Excuse me. There we go. Yes, quit. Quit, apologize, and renounce forever the character of Psycho Dad. If this is the kind of following that I inspire, then I'm afraid I must stop leading. However, since the networks offer me big bucks, be sure to watch me in my new show, Lefkowitz, Special Education Teacher's Aid. Thank you. And to you, Al, goodbye and get help. I can't believe Psycho Dad would sell us out. That's not Psycho Dad talking. He doesn't use words like character or education. He's been brainwashed by people like Marcy and her do-gooders. Well, we've got to think of something. Use the power of our giant manly brains? No, that'll take too long. Hi, Daddy. How are you feeling? Well, let's see. I'm dead. You got Psycho Dad back on here? You better not be kidding, or you're going to have to outrun the Dodge. Rush Limbaugh can outrun the Dodge. Yeah, it's just my stinking luck. It's a rerun. Rerun? Yeah, I recognize this episode. This is the part where he's going to shoot his wife. She ducks and he accidentally kills President Lincoln instead. Damn women. Alright, have a 2-minute break. How long have you been here? Excuse me. That should be counting the break, 2.5 minutes. Hi, this is Miranda Veracruz de la Joya Cardinal, and we are here live outside the studios of WHBZ, where some sort of pro-violence demonstration was supposed to be held. But the only evidence we could find is a crumpled copy of Penthouse magazine, the name Al mysteriously written in the snow. So, once again, it seems the joke's on me. Ha 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 ha. This is Miranda Veracruz de la Joya Cardinal saying, I'd have that anchor job by now if I'd just slept with Peter Jennings instead of Andy Rooney. I like you. I really, really like you. No, not in that way. So please don't let them take you off. I beg you, fight this thing like you would fight a varmint or an ex-wife. Your friend, Al. P.S. What does Barbara Eden look like naked? Barbara Eden? She's 1,000. I didn't mean now. I'd like to read this letter to you now. Dear Psycho Dad, spelled S-Y-K-O. You try and find P's and H's in USA Today. This letter arrived today. Maybe that's my letter. It came postage due. It is my letter. And close your eyes first, Dad, because there's a few minutes left of Saved by the Bell of the prison years. I Want My Psycho Dad, Part 2. Second Blood. You know, that arguably does make as little sense as First Blood, Part 2. And then for the third one, they just completely said, screw it, and just called it Rainbow 3. This is ranked 61st, and I would have to agree with that. And both kids are on the couch getting it on. Thankfully not with each other. because this wasn't written by Mark Miller. Well, I can see by the stars on the wall that it's time to go. Thanks, Dad. Now I'll never know his name. So it's like I'm doing you a favor. She's not always stupid, Kel. Squid pro quo. And then sometimes she is stupid. Am I not permitted to grow as a human being, Peg? And Jefferson is ready to go deer hunting. See, Peg, Jefferson realized that a big part of ice fishing is getting the bait, which in this case is deer. Fish love deer. And all of them are ready for different activities, and Al has to communicate what they figured out about how to tie it all together. And Bud is still asleep on her. And you can't even appreciate everybody down. And he doesn't know what Chicago is known as either. Clearly it's the Windy Apple. What took you so long? Too late. Don't you head lice realize? I really do love Marcy's short but sweet little put-downs, you know. Just, yeah, I've already quoted a bunch of them. America is definitely against violence. Look out! Iraq, Iran, I married. We'll have to table the Israeli-Arab peace accord. Man, Al says a lot of stupid in his address. And Ike completely blows Officer Dan's address. Kennedy's always on the floor. I really thought we were going ice fishing. I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade, but what makes you think we can get into Congress without any credentials? Sonny Bono did. Here we are, boys, city of brotherly love. No, that's Philadelphia. Well, what's Washington? A team without a quarterback. Damn postal workers. Guys, we're in Washington. Let's take advantage of what it has to offer. Griff, check out room service. Ike, fix that TV so we won't have to pay for the porn channel. Don't you want to call home and make sure Peg and the kids are okay? Relax, Jefferson. Nothing is going to happen. Late work today from Chicago, where a simple house party has spread like a virus. It is described as a Woodstock without the music. And then they change the channel. Oh, Santa, I've been very, very bad. Yeah, and here's the actual, yeah. So you see, Peg, after Jefferson gets the deer bait, Griff has to ski down to the lake where Ike has set up camp, and Bob Rooney scuba dives into the lake to see which fish are the hungriest, telling Officer Dan so he, in turn, can smoke signal the information back to me so I can ice fish with utmost confidence. Of course, have a nice time, boys. Catch a big one. Oh, I already have, Peg. And of course you didn't buy it. The naked and the dead, but mostly the naked. It's just that that's where I hide it from Al and the kids. Glad I'm not made from buttercream frosting. Mr. Clock, I'm finally on my way. No, it's a school of science and industry. JFK Jr. Man, Marcy must have been raring to go on that one. And are they naked? No. They're wearing those, whatchamacallits, shoes? So you wouldn't mind if we joined you? I gotta say, I like Ike. And she rotates in the chair like a child. Is a bear Catholic? How will I know what the flavor is? From the taste. Cow pie. That's cherry. You taste it. Cabbage. Salmon. That's a relief. I thought I was the only security guard working undercover tonight. Man, quick thinking. That's a good cover. It appears my beeper has just gone off. Also, excuse me, miss, I believe you dropped this? Two beers. The night's still young and so full of morons. All you had to do was let them go. Rain down like halves and pogs. Wow. I remember pogs. And Kel's high-pitched cry is so funny. And then all three of them cry. And IMDb notes that this is the first appearance of Al's new strip club hangout, the Jiggly Room. Gee, Al, I have to admit, this isn't anything like I thought it would be. I know, Peg, usually it's a lot more civilized in here, but when the talk turns to healthcare, damn it, I become an animal. Kelly takes a shot. And this is ranked 60th. Personally, I'd place in the top 50. You said it was the best 3 minutes of your life. Did not take long for Bud to get into Buck. Mental note, sleep on stomach tonight. Bud is sensitive. Why'd you think you only got 3 minutes? I thought it might cheer him up. What's their secret? O and Al. But who's on first? Those who can't, do not. Amber won't give you any, will she? If a man is being nice to someone, decent chance that is the reason. Yeah. Now is not one of those times. You know, architecture. I can't learn how to be a good architect in 10 days. Okay, let's begin. Okay, let's stop. And she hits Al in the butt. Obvious joke, but still. Fine, I'll keep the bleeding internal. Bullseye. No, it's Bullseye. I've watched that movie entirely too many times. Is what someone who didn't love the movie as much as me would have said. I love Kel's inner monologue about the apple shop. Well, I'm just glad they stopped him before he hit the other one. Mommy go, daddy tree, bud sofa. And both of them are glad they're not the other. Well, if you really want to scare them away, an owl will usually do it. An owl? I'm an owl. Remember the story of the Bundyville Horror? This is the place. These are the people. I meant you suck at choosing your roles, like anyone from the Saturday Night Live cast. Let's see. Get the Dodge out of hell. And this is ranked 23rd, and I would have to agree. A rubber sheep is demanding a blood test. But I'm not 11 anymore. I love the things the Bundys have to buy for the wankers. The end. And now Kel is giving up all the goods on Bud. And Al has a code, had a code and a reason not to go to. It was all Bud's idea. And Buck runs in with a thermometer in his mouth and heating thing on his head. It was all Bud's idea. And the keys for the Dodge is a screwdriver. See, the problem is that you want to spend money on frivolous... Ooh, a racing stripe. What kind of a loser works at a car wash? And Q Jefferson. And Steve. I thought I'd bring it here. We can't find your car. And the manager's a kid. And Al goes through the wash. And Steve turns out to just have been the limo driver. And just as Peg knew, they found the Dodge. For your Emmy consideration. And the car wash manager is played by Michael Faustino, David Faustino, Bud's brother. I thought you were out in the desert protecting the wildlife and performing your version of Guys and Dolls to the Cactus. And that's, of course, an inside joke as David Garrison departed the series to do theater. And Jefferson has a job at the car wash, and the apron he wears reads Tragot's, I think is the pronunciation, House of Scrubbin'. Walter Tragot was the man who Jefferson supposedly had killed while watching a baseball game in season 8, episode 20, The Darcy Files, because he knew of Jefferson's past as a spy. I want my Dodge, dagnabbit. Dagnabbit, what did you do? Get the Hooked on Phonics Yosemite Sam tape? Now this is ridiculous. Somewhere in this car wash is a Dodge with my name on it. Gee, I didn't know they made a Dodge loser. I have an idea. Why don't we get Buck to look for the car? Oh, come on. Buck's 100. He's so old that he misses when he tries to lick himself. So do you. But dogs never lose their sense of smell. Go find the Dodge, Buck boy. Buck, I said, go find the car. Go, go, go. What's he doing? He's going. Oh, maybe I should have said leave. I still would have gone. So where is the new unimproved, unemployed me? Okay, there's the Dodge early warning system. Peg, what is it with you? You can change 6D batteries in the dark, but you can't find a 2-ton automobile. Let's not start talking about who can find what in the dark. I'm Mikey, I'm the manager. Of what, the Mets? I don't take a lip from a shoe salesman. Now what do you want? I have a book report due tomorrow. I want my car. It never came out of the other end. Are you sure you brought a car? And Best of Bundy. And this is ranked 258th, and I basically agree with that. I'm not a big fan of clip shows. I'm not sure anyone is. And George Putnam points out he is our everyman, which I definitely agree with. And it's about how lucky we are not to be him. It is not in Al's nature to accept his fate. Again, resting quietly, one supposes. Yeah. And I do think they did they selected good clips and do good wraparounds in this. And hand down his pants. "25 years, and what do you get?" This is ranked 194th. Personally, I'd place it in the top 150. What? Just kidding. How do you do it? I don't. Well, I do, but only after Al goes to sleep. I bought the all-day soak and poke package. I guess Buck must have thought she was a fire hydrant. So, in a nutshell, here's your cleaning bill and your court date. What Father Teresa is trying to say. Al laughs a little too hard at steal their food and mix up the medicine. And he thinks I'm getting old. There's a bone. It will be. Laugh all you want, and they do. There. I'm invisible. Uh-oh. Damn ribbon gave me away. It's no wonder he thinks he's invisible with how little attention they pay him. And at least he didn't, you know... Eric Cartman did worse, thinking he was invisible in front of other people than Buck did. We have to start digging. Daddy, he's not even dead yet. For the necklace, you cartoon character. And Buck's dad has a hat. Bad dog. And Buck's mom has a bow. And he's literally selling Peg his lunch. And the treatment broke Marcy's body. You are so beautiful, the world will come to you. Wow. What's that? Please don't kill yourself, Daddy. But if she does, I can count on you kids to kill me, right? You can count on us, Dad. You won't even have to ask. Nope. I didn't recognize your face. I so rarely see this end of you. Can I take you to the toilet bowl? Buy you a drink? And the back of Al's tuxedo says Farquhar's Formals, and that's a reference to writer-producer Ralph Farquhar. And I didn't notice this myself, but according to IMDb, Katie Seagal's real hair starts to peek out from the peg wig towards the end of the spa scenes. Daddy, what's wrong with Buck? Well now, kids, come here. I never thought I'd be having this conversation because, frankly, I didn't think I'd still be alive on this. My 40,000th, anniversary. But it's time we all face facts. Buck's getting old. Is he gonna die? Yes. Ship happens. And this is ranked 96th, and I agree. There you go. The Amish magazine is new full color black. Well, my homies agree, I really look good. And Al is happy to stick with the fake name. And Wolfman just stayed in their living room. And their room is in the bottom of the deck. And Gilbert Gottfried, very nice. And Wolfman has been there for a week. Well, Bud, you did tell her to say yes to anything he says. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Star Trek acting. And Peg's hair is a new level of ridiculousness. And sexist as it is, the sound of Peg's cry is hilarious. She sounds like a dying animal giving birth being run over by a car. Thank you, Peg, for booking me on the Titanic. And according to the lifeboat, the name of the ship was Sea Dodge. And this was the last acting role of Wolfman Jack, who, like a lot of the other washed-up celebrities they got on the show, was perfectly willing to, be laughed at as a washed-up celebrity. I hope Flipper away. And Ship Happens Part 2. This is ranked 105th, top 100 for me. Welcome back to Buck, King of All Dogs, also known to humans as Married with Children. Jefferson's really trying to look at it positively. Mr. Ocean Half Full. When this re-aired in the 2000, this was my first introduction to Gilbert Gottfried. Loved him right from the start. Yes, I watched, the first two Aladdin movies when they came out, but dubbed, not in the original English. Which way is land? And they literally all point in different directions. That's Captain Blithering. I love the serving tray jokes. Some of them are just so offensive. And Kel genuinely thinks Bugs is going to get hurt. Come on. Bugs always outsmarts the other Looney Tunes. You zagnut. How are we going to eat? How are we going to pay the mortgage? Our lives are going to be exactly the same. And Bugs like feed the dog, and they don't. You bent my props. Again, fat shaming as it is, the overweight woman on the lifeboat is A, delivering well-written jokes, and B, giving a great performance. And Jaws, and not the Jaws of life either. And Gilbert scares off the shark with the impersonations. Well, yeah, when I was a baby, and they gasp. And they literally don't even know the name of Walter Cronkite. They're not journalists, they're paparazzi. And it's, the show did, this episode did a great job of predicting the level of journalism that mainstream media, anyway, would. And they put more money in Kel's hands the more awful details she gives. It's obvious we're not going to be rescued. And it's even more obvious why. Like we don't know who that's gonna be. Boy, if I had a nickel for every time I've said that. You walked right into that one, Al. How do you feel? Cry if you can. $5? And did any of them abuse you? They're dolphins, of course they did. And Kel really thinks that's Al's twin. And he slams the door in Gilbert's face, despite the check. And there is apparently, according to IMDb, a boom mic visible moments before Al Bundy is interviewed by Miranda Verjusta. Yes, I read that goof aloud just so I can say her name again. I will never tire of saying her name. Wait a second, you people can't just barge in here and invade our privacy. Kelly, show these people out. We'll pay you $1 million for your exclusive story. Kelly, get these people a Snapple. I think Bud is very, very generous in his assumption that Kel would know the way out. I agree that we should appoint a captain for us to get out of here. We must nominate someone for the position. Now, who knows the most about the sea? David Hasselhoff. Alright, Gilbert is disqualified. When you flush, it goes here. And I've seen all 3,000 episodes of Gilligan's Island. So, I'm on a cruise. My agent says to me, go on a cruise. You don't have to follow Sid Plank. You don't have to follow Carrot Top. And you get to eat with the captain. Well, some turn this is. Am I eating with the captain? Am I eating? Am I on a cruise anymore? Somebody get my agent! Somebody get me a spear gun. Come on, Al, I think Gilbert's funny. Make that 2 spear guns. Love me some Gilbert Gottfried. Why don't we try to catch a fish? How? We got no rods, we got no hooks, we got no bait. Well, we still have no rods or hooks. There, I got her. Hey, where'd that fish go? Where all dead fish go? To the Red Lobster? I'm sorry, my Gilbert Gottfried impersonation might be slightly over the top. Certainly, Shoeless is better. Something Larry this way comes. This is ranked 228th. It's top 200 for me. To prove every dark cloud has a silver bullet. There's a lot of things I don't see anymore. I love Kel talking up Larry before he arrives. I love Peg getting the title wrong. And Al goes on, not realizing Gary is right behind him. And Gary socks Larry. But first, take our picture. Today, Chicago. Tomorrow, Saturday. That's the you idiot. Oh, sorry. The you idiot. I'll just sit here and play with my organ. This one. And Al plays the only thing he knows on the piano. And Jefferson actually goes, charge! It's so ingrained. And Kel tears at him to get the mask off. And he's still wearing the werewolf suit, so his legs are woolly. And Peg realizes it's Al. And the emergency exit triggers the alarm and calls the police. Oh, Pumpkin, enough with the pep talk now. And Griff takes pictures of women with Larry, who also don't know who he really is. Tell me again, Al, what werewolves have to do with selling shoes? Again? Alright, think this. Wolves, night, moon, shoes. Huh? You see, wolves are nocturnal. They hunt at night. Hence, wolves, night. Yeah. Moon, shoes. Hi. Anybody want to buy a Dodge? One owner, one gear, $1. So this is really today's take? Actually, that's yesterday's take. We were going to bring it to the bank, but they have a 50-cent minimum deposit. Luckily, we haven't taken out our commission yet. And Larry Storch's Phantom of the Opera literally opens with, of all the opera joints in all the world, he had to walk it to mine. Wow. And bingo was her game-o. Okay. Deal with that soon enough. And this is ranked 58th, and I place it top 50. And I think we all know what little handyman gets self-touchers quarterly. Oh, well, I would, but I have bad memories of Bingo. I had a dog named Bingo that died tragically. I thought you had a cat named Gringo that lived to be 100. Right. Then I can go. Thanks, Honeypot. So, Peg, do I have time to go home, freshen up, amend my will? And he tosses the remote into the TV. Ow, that might have been a slight overreaction. Toothpaste is for people who smile and kiss and eat. Do not sell after 1989. Hell, I'm not selling it, I'm eating it. Touch that marker and you'll be eating through a straw like the rest of us. Squeak that chair one more time and you'll wish you were never born like the rest of us. Congratulations, Peggy. Shut up. I think it's safe to say that Al has let me down again. After that, it's just another crime scene. Luckily, doctors can reattach almost anything. How long have you been driving? 72 hours straight. And the fourth driver is genuinely full-on sleeping. So where's Dad and the rest of the lawn sprinklers? And Griff is passed out. The others are at least slightly lucid. Thank your father, kids. Thanks, Dad. And they just pick the same beer as before. Wow. Al, it's 9 o'clock. Where are you going? Yeah, I gotta go pick up the wife. And, you know, the janitor character is played by Clint Howard. Al, when are we gonna stop sipping this beer and start drinking it? Yeah, all this beer foreplay is making me thirsty. What's foreplay? It's the act that comes right before sex. It lasts about 10 seconds. Well, then what's sex? I wish the Muslim driver wasn't racist, but I do think you know, I find driving to be a very zen experience. I think the faster you go, the faster you get there. And then Mars says, yeah, I never knew a Geo Metro could go 140 miles per hour. Wow. Sorry for the bumpy ride, folks. It's hard to steer when you're coming off drugs. Hey, look out. Damn jogger. What? That was an olive, right? Sure, with an eyelid. Hey, Jefferson, I got a bad feeling. You drank about 40 beers. I wonder if you can feel anything at all. No, I could have sworn there was something I was supposed to do at 9 o'clock. What time is it now? It's 10:15. Well, whatever it is that I'm supposed to do, I guess I already did it. I don't want to box anymore. Let's dance. When you were dancing, you wanted to box. Yeah, but when I was dancing, I didn't get to lead. User-friendly. This is ranked 107th, and I pretty much agree. Let's see. It's okay. I'll call 911. Oh God, I forgot the number. So where do you fit in? She says it will be in the room of broken promises. Ah, that would be the bedroom. Hey, you guys, this is so funny. Such a good idea. Beverly Hills, 90,201. Boy, they must be really dumb still in high school that far into the future. Wow. Jefferson, get over here. Sit down. That's your problem. You don't know how to relax. What the hell does that switch do? 2.6 billion men on the planet, and we didn't marry any of them. And you won't call an electrician because they don't know more about electricity than the average Joe. He makes a compelling case there. Ah, early CG. So cheesy, so overused. And again, this you know, early, like, cyberspace kind of thing, you know, this, they're completely convinced there would be this incredibly visual experience with, like, just, you know, this is one of the more, one of the ones that don't go completely nuts. The, you know, one of the really fun ones that go completely nuts is, what's that game called? It's a point-and-click adventure, Beneath the Steel Sky, I think it's called. That, yeah. You know, I don't know if it is anymore, but when I got it, it was free on GOG. And yeah, you know, if you're at all into point and click, that's one you almost have to play just for the cyberspace stuff. It's pretty out there. It's in general a game that really goes way out there and just, yeah. You know, there were some really great, you know, in the 90s, some really great point-and-click adventure games that just, you know, went all out there, you know. I love Jefferson's look post-electrocution. Post-electrocution. And he fries Al. Before Lewis built a Bobot, before Futurama's Marilyn Monroe bot, there was the Cyber Amber Sex. Odd. I see my entire life flashing before my eyes. And that only happens before. I specialize in nuclear dentistry. It's a secret program between the CIA and Crest. I've moved up the evolutionary ladder. Somewhat. Ooh, Al, bake me. And now Bud's into monkeys. Checks out. That makes him one of the earliest known furries, I think. What the hell does this switch do? Man, I gotta find where this switch for this thing is. It's one of my all-time favorite episode endings. It's just, it's perfect. And this episode would bother me a lot more today if not for the ending where Amber wins. And really, whether it meant to or not, it did predict that a lot of men prefer computers and still magazines and just their own imagination to real women. At least, you know, real women that they don't pay directly for that. And Al wastes several days since Bud keeps going to the experiment day after day, and clearly this happened several times, on the stupid switch. He made sure he could watch TV, his TV shows, but then he wastes all that time due to a stupid obsession. And all he had to do was have Jefferson look outside of the house while he flips it and then call back with what happens. But they don't think of the possibility that it's something within his, you know, the outside of his house is still his property, you know. And this is the final appearance of Julia Teblock as Marcy's niece and Bud's sometimes girlfriend, Amber. I recognize this. It's foreplay. Either that or he has a spastic colon. Yeah, it's his colon. Let's get a second opinion. Hey, Bruno, what does that look like to you? Looks like I'm gonna need a bigger mop. Spastic colon it is. You're talking to a guy who's had the real thing more times than there are stars in the sky. There are more than 4 stars in the sky, Mr. Bundy. Well, sure, once you get out of the city. Something's wrong, Dad. He hasn't showered for 4 days. He disappears at night. He has no interest in the opposite sex anymore. And the problem is, Daddy, he's like that and he's not even married. And Pump Fiction. This is ranked 138th. I'd definitely place it top 100. Aren't you late for your nightly lurk around the newsstand? And Bud tries to subtly check his watch. If only I had an idea. If only I had a camera. If only I had a hammer. If only they had 2 brain cells to rub together between them. I'm not a destitute. I've never taken money from. And Shio's is amazing. So terrible. It is not true. Al did not hit her. He did not. Oh, hi, Bud. It just doesn't say Al. If you shorten that stick there, it will. And Al is putting bikini girls in the next film. And he gave them all phones and used them to call each other when they're right there. Maybe they didn't want to shout. They wouldn't treat Francis Ford Coppertop like this. And they dismantled the NEA because of the movie. Really, if it was that easy to take down something with EA in the name of it, obviously EA Games would have been long gone. I love Marcy's laugh. I made shoe news. And And this is when it's revealed Luke Ventura, Al's former co-worker from season 1, is now a shoe salesman in a major shoe department store in Chicago. Shoes is a taut and gripping short film told in the Andy Warhol tradition of filmmaking. Shoes, remember? E before O except after E-I-E-I-O? And Al's last word in Kelly's Shoes is Rosebud. And the music of Kelly's Shoes is also yeah, that one from Space Odyssey. Zarathustra, I guess. And a spinning shoe on a string mimics the revolving space station and evolving in 2001. And Ike suggests Hasta la vista, shoe man, as a poster slogan for Al's movie about the life of a shoe salesman. And oops, there we go. My favorite married. And this is ranked 257th, and I agree. Again, not a fan of clip shows. It sounds so different from Al. The others sound different from their characters a lot of the time, from what their characters sound a lot of the time, but Al never sounds quite like regular Ed. I love seeing the bloopers, you know, the clips we've seen before, and yeah, honestly, if like the bloopers had taken up way more of this, or maybe there was like behind the scenes footage or something instead of just clips. And you know, Jefferson Actor goes, that was my first day. I thought it was always like that for the, you know, Christmas special. And Radio Free Trumaine. This is ranked 252nd. Yeah, somewhere around there. You don't have to apologize. I don't even know why I asked. What? I'll go. Why? When you get beef, I get beef. Together, we're still not as fat as Rush Limbaugh. But Bundy, we have a winner. Nikolai is really funny. The talk about, you know, communism, yeah. Now that's entertainment. And Jefferson the limo driver. By the way, Russians have tails, you know. Look it up. Then you can look for a boyfriend. Or bud. And Steve checks the cards with questions just to make sure he didn't accidentally write that question. Tear the roof off this sucker. I will never tire of Marcy trying to sound cool. They kind of forgot to write a joke with Kelly's call, other than that she votes against her own brother, but, I mean, compared to the crank calls in the one with the anti-sex hotline, just, yeah. These failed spin-off backdoor pilots are the only episodes of the show that I don't love, at least so far, almost exclusively. And I honestly don't think this setup for a show was all that interesting. I don't really mind the actors, and I love Eric Dane, but the characters are not that memorable, other than Steve, and this doesn't have all the traits that we love the character for, or even necessarily the best ones. And I mean, the top of the heap, I could see how that's a show. I just don't think it'd be, well, I could see how that did become a show, but I have no interest in watching it. And, but yeah, you know, this episode was the pilot of a proposed spin-off series starring Eric Dane, Andrew Kavovit, who are the two male radio hosts, Kerry Russell, and David Garrison. So it would have had Steve as a regular character. So really, you know, you haven't seen The Last of Me, which is, of course, now instead, you know, it was supposed to be like, nope, don't worry, he'll come back for the main show. But now it's strangely, you know, ironic because this is his last appearance on Married with Children. But I guess the The show itself would have been called Radio Free Trumaine. I think that's the idea. Say toes. Toes. Why toes? Well, in Wenger County, that's where cheese comes from. So these are your radicals? I don't hear anyone chanting, Attica, 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 Attica. And Shoeless Al. There we go. This is ranked 157th. I place it in the top 150. I do really enjoy the confidence and the stride of the bowling team. Last year's losers got neutered. I thought you guys were last year's losers. And Al, helping Bud, is just opening the door for him. Of course, there's not much you can do with one hand in the air, except put the other one up. Al, your arm is down. Sue who? Everyone. I wish I got tied up and robbed. Well, I did get tied up, but I didn't get robbed. Hey, wait a minute. Our lives are in your feet. That's why life stinks. And the PI moves in, and Al already almost blew it. It's a foot off. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. My TV was talking. There might be a 40-inch in it for you, Mr. Baum. He should be heading upstairs any time now. Well, Bud really is that predictable. You need shoes. Great reversal of her usual line. That really, yeah, she's shown up a bunch of times on the show, and she always says, I need shoes. I forget, I think they call her like Madge or Marge, possibly. Yeah, I'm not sure that she's ever been referred to on the show by that name, but, you know, credited. The actress is credited with Marge. But he stinks. He's my son. Don't you think I know he stinks? And the ball flies back, and the trophy is tiny. No, Al. As usual, when you're excited, I feel nothing. Good use of queen. And MTV notes that Puggy Weaver, for whom the bowling trophy is named, was Al's bowling nemesis when Al was trying to break the gym's Bowlerama record. And let's see. And finally, the Undergraduate. This is ranked number 100. I agree. Love the Bundys with good food. All 13 colonies. Partial credit. I know, I've done this to women. Butkenstein. First of all, following your hand to bed is not considered stalking. L.A. Boom. That's La Boheme, you pincushion. And Stitch. Just tell me, Kelly. I can take it. Are you seeing someone else? No, she ordered those flowers for herself. Genius. And he puts the dirty dishes back in the closet. Oh, you really are. You are one cool guy. Can I get you a drink? He's a fetus. And Robbie actually drinks from that cup. Like, he's a little, like, he really gave me like that? Okay. Wow. And Bud takes pictures of them, and Kel hits him with the door. Do you know who my daddy is? Yeah, sure, your father. Well, yeah. And the dramatic music sting. I heard her talking outside. I think she just got held back. Let's dance. And Robbie's father was standing right behind him. Hi, Dad. New tie? Yep. Same old belt, though. Another time out, Dad? Maybe, if the belt unravels. November 43rd. Is no one worried, bothered by the fact that Kel is now dating Robbie's dad? The guy's 20 years older than her. Are you never happy? I love Al's reaction to the marriage proposal. We're moving on up. That's right, to the east side. I thought he hated that show. I can't shake this feeling there's someone else. And now she hears bells. As the Chinese philosopher Unconscious once said, it is better to have loved and lost than to have never seen Lost in Space at all. The days before the movie adaptation. And Al's dancing and singing the theme song. It was a really, you know, you have the, it's a great way to end the season with this, you know, possible huge status change to the status quo, with Kel possibly moving in with him and them suddenly having much more money and such, and then, you know, undone because no, she's just that much more into Stitch, and just, yeah. And I suppose that covers it. And yeah, that's just only 2 seasons left, but I do have more great shows coming up. So, yeah, catch you next time. Please comment, thumbs up, and subscribe for more content.